Aminat Yakubu, Perpetua. I love you. I love you, mothers. Thank you for coming early. Thank you so much. How are you? How are you, Amina? How are you, Perpetua? Thank you so much, Ma. And how was our last master class? I do hope you really, really enjoyed it. Good evening, everyone. How do you do? All right. How to choose the right school for your child. How to choose the right school for your child. Don't choose the wrong school. And this is the conversation we're having tonight. How to choose the right school for your child. Mhm. Choosing a school for your child is a decision that can make or mar your child. It is a decision that can make or mar your child. We need to understand this. And this is why this conversation is very, very important because this decision is one decision that can shape a child. Once again, welcome, wonderful parents, guardians, educators, and everyone joining me today. And please, if you have contacts of your children teachers or your proprietor or proprietress, kindly share the link to them so that they can know how to set up their school in a manner that almost everyone, every pupil, every child, you know, will benefit what they actually need to benefit from a school system. Once again, welcome to Parenting with Coach Hayo. Every Saturday, we are here talking about parenting. And for those of us that are joining me from that attended our last master class, I said it that you should not exit. Our next master class is coming by September. But before then, we'll be having weekly classes. Yes, we'll be having our weekly classes and even voice notes, weekly discussion. We are not here to joke. We are not here to joke, except if you are not interested in learning about parenting, you can exit the group. But if you want to actually grow as a parent, please remain there. So we created another group. We made it a community because as other master classes are coming up, more people are joining us. So we want to create different group for each of the master classes, but under the same community. So if you notice any change in the WhatsApp setup, the group setup, you are safe. We are working on, making it more enjoyable for all of us. Now, I like to hear where you are joining me from. You are joining me from Abuja, from Lagos, from Port Harcourt, from Ibadan, Akure, Benin, Kaduna, Edo, outside Nigeria, wherever you are joining me from. I like to know. I like to know because I want to know you more. Okay. And if you are a parent here, I like you to type, I am choosing wisely. I am choosing wisely because this is one of the decisions that can prove if we are actually wise as a parent, choosing the right school. Because today we are talking about one of the biggest decisions you will ever make concerning your child. May I tell you that choosing a school for your child is as important as choosing a name for your child. Hmm. Who catch that? Choosing a school for your child is as important as choosing a name for your child. You will understand why I say why I made that statement before we are done with the class. So, because we are talking about school choice, I chose this topic deliberately. Of course, for the past 2 3 years now, I teach this topic refined, more updated. I teach that this particular topic at this time. I treated it last year and 2 years ago. So today's topic is deliberate. Don't choose the wrong school. Don't choose the wrong school. Now I want you to imagine this. You found a school. Hmm? The compound is beautiful, well painted. The classroom are painted beautifully. There are air conditions. Some even have TV. Gorgeous uniform, beautiful uniform. They have impressive Instagram page. Their online presence is. You see photographs of children in the reception with trophies. You see smart boards. You even see swimming pool. We know some schools have swimming pool. The reception speaks wonderfully, wonderfully. And the principal or the proprietors or the admin or whoever you meet gives you a very polished presentation, very huge presentation. And you are thinking, wow, 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 this must be a fantastic school. You pay the registration fee, you pay for the school uniform, the stationaries, the textbooks, you pay for if they have school bus, you pay for transportation, you enroll your child. But hey, 6 months later, something begins to change. Just 6 months. Your child who used to be very curious, who used to ask questions, suddenly becomes afraid of making mistakes. The child who used to come home so excited, saying, mommy, mommy, here is what happened in school, suddenly begin to tell you, I don't want to go to school tomorrow. I don't want, oh, daddy, my teacher says I'm slow. My teacher said this. I don't feel like going to school. Or maybe your child begins to lose confidence. Perhaps the child's grade may still look good, may still look, fantastic, but something else is disappearing. Curiosity, confidence, joy, creativity, self-esteem. Hmm. And one day you begin to ask, did I choose the right school? In fact, if you are able to identify, if you are able to ask that question, you are on your path to solving that problem. Most times we begin to ask, what is happening to my child? Why is my child doing this? Why? If you are able to ask that question, did I choose the right school for my child? You are even on the path, you are on the right path. It means you are very, very intentional. You are very, very observant. And that question can be very painful. Can be very, very painful. Because changing school is not always simple. Mm, it has emotional consequence, it has financial consequence, it has social consequence, it even has academic consequence. Most times when you change school for children, some children struggle. They already have friends that they are used to in their former school. They have adjusted, they have tried to adjust themselves to an environment, and suddenly you are moving them from that environment to a totally different environment. So it has not only financial issue. Yes, ma. Thank you for putting that, ma. Changing school is not always simple. We just think once we pay the school fee, we make everything available, the child will be fine. It is not always simple. It's because we do not understand what happens inside the children. Those of us that attended just concluded master class, you will understand now that a lot of things happens in the brain of our children that we do not know. Recently, we had to change our children's school. We relocated and we changed our children's school. And what is 2 months? 3 months ahead, I have been coaching them. 3 months ahead, I have been preparing them for the change. Because it's not you as an adult. Just think about it. If you have sudden change in environment, what happens? Some of us will even fall sick. Am I right? Some of us will miss our friends. So it happens also to children. So this is why it is very, very important that we make the right choice from the beginning. And here is one thing I want you to remember for. Here's one thing that I want to say before I move on, that a good school is not automatically the right school for your child. You ask me how, you will understand. I say this again, that a good school is not automatically the right school for your child. I repeat that. A school can be excellent. Hmm? A school can be excellent. A school can be good. A school can be, can be so impressive, yet not good for your own child. Thank you for that thumbs up. Not good for your own child. Another school that does not impress everybody. Most of the time when we see buildings, we see fine school buildings with diagrams, with images, we assume that this must be a good school. No, I am not saying good schools that looks good are not good. That's not what I'm saying. Please don't get me wrong. But I'm saying that a good school may not actually be the right school for your own child. Another school that looks, that doesn't look so tush, may actually be the right school for your own child. And that's why I'm going to teach how you will be able to identify the exact school that is perfect for your own child. So today's question is, what is the best? Is not what is the best school. That's not today's question. The question is actually, what is the best school for my child? For my child. You see, the word my there changes everything. It changes everything. So stay with me, because before we finish today, I'm going to give you 7 major things every parent should check before choosing a school. 7 important things, major things that you must check before choosing a school. I will also give you the red flags you should never ignore, no matter what. I'm going to share. I had a experience. I'm going to share my experience, and if you have been listening to me, you will know by now that I am vulnerable. When I make errors, I share with you. I share my mistake, I share my errors too with you. So I'll also teach you questions to ask when you visit a school. When you visit a school, the only question is not just to ask about the fee. Yes, I know the fee is important. I'll talk about that. But that's not just the only thing you need to ask. I'll teach you what are the 5 important questions you should ask. I will also talk about mistakes you should, mistakes parents commonly make. A simple scoring system you can use to compare schools. Of course, when you are looking for a school, you might find 2, 3 schools, that you are finding difficult to make choice. Oh, should I choose this? Should I choose that? I will give you a scorecard that you can use to compare and to make your choice. And perhaps, most importantly, I will talk about how to determine whether a particular school truly fits your own child. I will talk about how to know whether a particular school, I personalize it, fits in your own child. So this is the conversation we're having today. Like I said, if you have a parent, because this period, I know many of us will be looking for school. Even if you are not looking for school for your child, this session will open your eyes and your mind, and you will know whether you have enrolled your child in the right school. You will know whether you need to withdraw your child. You will know whether you need to push the school system to make changes, to make improvements. All right. So let's talk about let's move on. And I want to make this statement. There is no universal best school. Yes, there is no universal best school. Most parents normally ask me, Coach Ayo, which school is the best school for your child? Some will even bring their children to where our children are. I know quite a number of parents who brought their children to our school because our children, attended. Were attending that school. Even the proprietress will tell me that this person said she brought her child here because your children are are here. All right, fine. Based on my experience and my exposure and the nature of my work, I may be able to know to some extent school that's, a running school, effective one. But the fact that I put my child in a school doesn't automatically mean, even as a parenting expert, doesn't automatically mean that the school is, good for your child. At the model family, we also run school system installation. Yes, we do system installation. So I know that there is no universal best school. So when you're asking what school is the best school, which of this school is the best school, you are definitely asking a wrong question, because there's no universal best school. The answer, whenever parents ask me, my response is usually which school is best for who, because that who makes a difference. Because let's imagine two children. Let's imagine that there are two different children, maybe from the same parents or from different parents in the same class. The first child is very, very confident, very, very confident, highly competitive, very dependent, a fast learner who loves challenges, who love competition. But that child, if you put that child in a demanding academic environment, and that child may say, bring it on. That child may say, okay, this school, yes, let's be on it. Let's be on it. Now imagine another child, very intelligent, very observant, but very sensitive. But very, very sensitive. A child who takes time, to relate with people, to feel comfortable with people. There are people like that. A child who needs encouragement. A child who doesn't respond to shouting. There are some children that even if you shout from morning to night, it doesn't bother them. I have one. It doesn't bother them. But there is another child that if you shout at that child can shut down for the whole day. I also have that type. I also have that type. If you have any of this, you understand what I mean. So you need to take your time. A child that does not like comparing him or herself with anybody. The child, you remember the first scenario I painted. There are children who actually love competition. That they love it. Everything about them is competition. You hear, oh yeah, let's do this thing. Let's see who will come first. Let's do this thing. Let's see who will finish food first. Let's run. Let's see who will come first. So if you put these two different kind of children in the same school, one may thrive, one will, survive. One will survive. Same school, but different children. You will get different results. Different results. That is why I want you to write this down. I want you to write this down. Good school plus wrong fit. Please put it in the chat so that we can all get it. Good school plus wrong fit equals to possible struggle. Did you get that? That's one equation I want to give you today. Good school plus wrong fit equals possible struggle. And the second equation is good school plus right fit equals opportunity to thrive. Many of our children are struggling academically, not because they are dullard, not because they are not smart, not because they are not intelligent, but because we have successfully made the wrong choice, academic choice for them. And they are struggling academically. We are paying high. We are investing so much, but the result we are getting does not, commensurate with the effort we are putting in. So your task as a parent is not merely to find a prestigious school. It's not to find a prestigious school. Hmm? Your task is to find an environment in which your child has the best opportunity. Oh my goodness. An environment where your child has the best opportunity to grow both academically, socially, mentally, psychologically, morally, even creatively. And this is where sometimes most parents we get trapped by reputation. Mm. We get trapped because a school fee is high. We just assume that because a school is you are paying high, then that school is perfect. Some of us we just assume because a school has been existing for years is the perfect school. Mm. Thank you, ma. Thank you, ma. Yes, thank you for the fire emoji. Hmm. I need somebody to help me with this phone. Oh. Honestly. I have tried to silence it, put it in silence, yet it will still be making this pa 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 pa. And I don't like it. It's distracting me. Mm. All right. Thank you, Perpetua. Thank you very much, ma'am. So we get trapped. Mm? We get trapped. Someone tells you, everybody send their children there. Oh, that's where my child is. But everybody's child is not your own child. Mhm. Everybody's child. Should I switch off this phone? I have tried everything. I have tried everything. It will be in silence. It will still be making pa 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 pa. I don't like that noise. Sorry. I hope it won't make the noise again. Hmm. So everybody's child is not your own child. Your own child is different. Someone says, all the big people take their children there. That's where all the that is not a school evaluation criterion. Who is your child? That's a question you should ask yourself. Some may even say, their school fee is 2 million. Some pay in millions for primary school, for nursery school. Well, if you have the money, that's fine. You can go ahead and pay. But that you are paying huge amount of money doesn't make that school a good one for your child, because expensive does not automatically mean appropriate. And that person may even say, you see that secondary school, my child got a parallel in WAEC, a parallel in NECO, and all of that. School choice, that's wonderful. But your neighbor's child is not your own child. It's not your own child. Hmm? It's not your own child. School choice should not become a competition among parents. Some of us will compete, because my neighbor's child is going to this school, so that they won't think I don't have money. Let me put my child there. And you are forcing your child to fit into a wrong academic environment. Your child's future will definitely pay for it. Yes. Now let me say something that may make you so uncomfortable. And it's okay. By now you should know. Hmm? Because me, I know that until we challenge the old, our old perception, sometimes changes may never occur. Do you know that sometimes we choose school for our own image? Say yes if you understand this. We choose school based on our own image rather than for our own children. Oh, people should now see that my child is going to this school. It's about your ego, not your child. Yes, it is for your own ego. You are not even considering, will my child thrive? The first thing, people will now say, me, this is the school that my child is going to. And maybe that could be the school where your child will function properly, will perform better. So we want to be able to say, my son attend this school, my son goes to that school. And sometimes what we are even purchasing is social status in these guys of education. Social status, we just want to belong. I'm aware that some schools, when they are going for open day or end of the year party or any school activity, they do competition in how they dress. They dress to impress. Yeah. It's all right. It's all right. So there's nothing wrong with sending your child to an excellent or prestigious school if you can afford it. But my question is, does the school actually fit in what your child needs? It's like buying a good shoe, imported, very expensive, beautiful, you know, but not the same size with your child. With, with your child's shoe size, will it fit in? Of course, no. What have you done? You have wasted money. You have just wasted money. And the problem begins when prestige becomes more important than fit. When we are so concerned about our ego, about our prestigious, that's where problem begins. Hmm? That is where from problem begins. So if nobody ever knew which school my child is or child should attend, you are here with me, you are confused, or you already have your child in school and you are noticing that your child is not doing well, this class will help you. This class will help you. Now, I want to go to part two of this teaching. Know your child before you search for a school. Many of us, in fact, if I begin to ask us now to tell me about your child, what many of us will talk about is your child's name, your children's name, age, maybe best food, best color, what the child loves to do, to play with, and all of that. Knowing your child goes beyond that. I talked about different personalities of children in my book, Why Find Your Lost Purpose. I broke it down into pieces. See, if you don't know your child, you will probably make the choice. You will choose the wrong school for your child. So before you start looking for school, thank you for the love emoji. Keep it coming. So before you choose, before you start looking for a child, for a school, start to study your child. Know who your child is. You should be the one to tell your children's teacher, your proprietors, how to handle your child. Yes, you should be. Because if you actually know your child, there's a document we normally prepare at the model family, and I present it at my children's school. They have it in their files. We call it the user's manual. We understand at the model family that God is a manufacturer of children. Children are the products manufactured by God. And children thrive in an environment. The environment could be the home, the school. The school is one of the major, because your children spend almost how many hours in school? About 6, 7 hours in school. They spend more time, more active time in school, more than they spend at home. Because your children will leave for school maybe 7, some they come back 2, 3, some they even come back 5. By the time they are back, they are preparing to do home fun, have their meal and all of that. They are getting ready for bed. So the most active hours of the day were spent in school. So you should be deliberate. You should be intentional. Thank you for the emojis. Keep it coming. You should. Choosing a school for your child is not something you should joke with. It's not something you should joke with. And maybe after this class, you will need to have one-on-one meeting with your children teacher, with your school teacher. One of the things that we do, if we are to enroll our children in a school, we will do meeting. We will do meeting. We will talk. because we understand the impact, the influence, the influence that a school can have in our children's life. Many of us are who we are today because of our teachers, because of who taught us in school, because of our proprietors and our proprietors. We are who we are today. So here is one of the biggest mistakes parents make. We investigate school before we investigate our children. We start looking for school before we start looking for our children. And that's why I keep telling parents, from the day you give birth to your child, start observing. Sure, I taught you at the last master class that you should become a detective, not a police. Hmm? Because a detective is usually curious. What is this child doing? What is influencing this child behavior? This is one of the things I teach at the play therapy course. Play, through play, you can also know your child. Through play. In fact, play is a very, very important tool in parenting. I do say because I know that play is a destiny discovery tool in parenting. So all these complaint that you people used to complain, my child is playing too much. It is because you don't understand that play is a tool in your parenting. It is what you can use to identify your child's purpose, what your child loves. Some children communicate through drawings. Don't let me digress. I want to go into play therapy course. No, today is not for play. Some other time we'll talk about that. So we investigate schools before we investigate our children. Before visiting 10 schools, study the child living in your home. Study your child. Ask, who is your child? How does this child learn? What is your child's learning style? Some children are visual learners, some are auditory learners, some are kinesthetic learners. They learn based on hands-on practical. You should understand. You should understand what gets your child excited, what gets your child frustrated, how your child responds to pressure. Hmm? What your child needs to do well academically, how much structure. How much structure does your child need? Does your child need constant encouragement, support? Is your child naturally independent? There are children like that. You need to understand that. Is your child very active? Quiet? Does your child require repetition? That is not a weakness. I talked about it in our last class, master class. Repetition. It could be a trigger, but it's not a problem. You see, the executive function, the children's executive function, it develops, at diverse pace, and it is okay, except if it is, clinically tested that a child has a developmental challenge. Maybe a child has dyslexia, or a child is autistic, or any neurological challenge. Hmm? Does your child love building things? Is your child creative? Is your child musical? Is your child analytical? Is your child systematic? Is your child naturally curious? These are the things that you need to know about your children, so that you will know. You will tell your children teacher, or your proprietors that this is a child I am presenting to you. This is how you should handle my child. This is how you should handle my child. You don't know. Many of us are particular about our child being able to write and read, to read letters, to read numbers, to be able to speak to English, to speak phonics, and all of that. Why? All of them are important. Like I do say, that the world is now bigger than math and English. The world is bigger than math and English. And education is even broader than math and English. The school is more than teaching a child how to read and write. So if you are taking your child to school just to go and learn ABC 1, 2, 3, you have already gotten it wrong. I must tell you. You have already gotten it wrong. You have already gotten it wrong. You have gotten it wrong. So I want to give you the 5 questions that you should ask. The 5 questions that every parent must ask. The first question is, how does my child learn? Like I said, some learn through drawings, some learn, verbally. Once you explain to them, they understand. Some learn through writing, some through reading. For those of us, we can recall when we are in an institution. Some of us, when we just sit down, listen to lectures, we are okay. Some of us need to jot it down, point by point, and read it several times. That is not a weakness. That is your own unique way of learning, and it's applicable to children also. So you need to learn that. You need to know that. You need to know that. Excuse me. So don't quickly label a child difficult because the child learning style does not match your own. Excuse me. Most time we just say, this child is olodo, this child is not doing well academically. No, there's no child that cannot do well academically. As I said, I've seen autistic children who are doing well academically. So don't make that mistake, because the child learning style is different from your own child learning style. And if you're a teacher or school owner, you are watching me, don't label any child difficult, because that child's learning style is different from what you are used to. We also run a course for for teachers and school owners, and this is part of the things we teach. We teach children, we teach teachers, school owners, how to design their classroom, their lesson note, teaching method in a way that will carry every child along. Whether a child is an auditory learner, or a visual learner, or a kinesthetic learner, that every child, every pupil will be carried along. That's the first question you should ask. The second question: how does my child respond to correction? You should know this. Hmm? You shouldn't correct your child the way you actually want to correct your child. You should correct your child the way your child needs to be corrected. And I'm not talking about being permissive here. That's not what I'm talking about. If I say this, I'm not saying you should excuse your bad behavior. No. There are some children that you just need to talk to them. They picked it. They picked the point. That some children, it's just I. You know how our parents used to look at us that time. I grew up with my grandma. And my grandma can use high to beat you. High. She can use high to beat you. Even when she has so trained me to the extent that even when she's saying yes, for instance, maybe we go to visit somebody and the person is offering us uh refreshments, and I'm saying no, and she's trying so that the person will not think she said I shouldn't forget, and she's saying, take it, take it. She's saying take it, oh, and the high is saying another thing. I understand. But there are some children that will not understand that, especially if you have not been communicating with them with that high. So you need to understand how your children respond to correction. Some may recover quickly from correction, some may internalize harsh words. You need to understand this. It is not a weakness. You also need to ask the third question: how much academic challenge does my child need? How much academic challenge does my child need? A child can be under challenge, a child can be overwhelmed. You need to understand both can create problem. Both, a child being overwhelmed, a child being under challenge, can it can be a problem. So you need to ask that question. Then question number 4: what does my child naturally enjoy? This is part of what we prepare in our user's manual. We point out what a child naturally enjoys doing. Some naturally enjoy reading, some they naturally enjoy writing, some they naturally enjoy talking. None of these is weakness. None. So if your child is passionate about music, art, coding, football, debate, drama, like when I was in school, I love debates. Oh, I love debate. I was at the point I was in charge of literary and debating society. I love it. And I have some of my classmates who will be hiding. Hmm? So if your child loves that, your child loves to build school, you need to understand, does the child school provide opportunity for those strength in your child, so that your child will grow. Then, question number 5: what support does your child need right now? Is your child still struggling with handwriting? Your child is still struggling with, pronouncing correctly? What your child need now, not 5 years ago, not 2 years ago, not what you wish your child need, what your child need right now. One child may need confidence. One child may need discipline. One child may need academic support. One child may need challenging curriculum. One child may need social development. There are children like that. So another child may need a calm learning environment. And please, let me say this. Let me say this, that choosing the right school, if you are with me, please put it down in the chat. Choosing the right school begins with accepting the child you actually have, not the child you imagined you would have, not the child you wished you have. I talked about the child me, the child I wished I that I would love to have. I talked about it in my book, Discipline Without Damage. And most times, the reason why we have issue with our children is because we fail to accept the reality, compared to our expectations. When our expectations does not match the reality, we say, that child is stubborn, that child is difficult, that child is this. No, no child is not stubborn, no child is difficult. You just haven't understand what actually your child is. Let's quickly run because we still have a lot to discuss. Now, let's talk about the 7 things every parent must check. Please, if you have to be writing this down, write it down. You can put it in the comment. You can be putting it in the comment section. I hope we are together. I do really hope that we are together. 7 things. 7 things that every parent must check. Now, you have found 3 schools or maybe 5. How do you compare? How do you choose? So I want to give you 7 things every parent must check. Currently, I am in that situation, and because we want to change our children's school and we are making that comparison. So I want you to have this. Don't choose a school because of a nice reception. That is not enough. Don't choose school based on advertisement. You saw the adverts on social media and you're like, oh, even a tuition academic environment is not the only thing. It's not the only criterion for you to choose a school. Do not choose school even based on fees alone. Fees are important. These are the 7 things you must carefully investigate. Are we together? Please tell me yes if we are together. These are the 7 things you must intentionally investigate. Number 1 is teaching quality. Can a school actually teach? And the teaching I'm talking about is not just the writing, reading and writing. No, I'm not saying do they have not that you act. Do they have beautiful classroom? Do they have tablet? Do they have a smart board? Do they have laptops? Yes, technology is useful. I agree with you. Technology is useful, but a smart board cannot rescue poor teaching. If you get that, put it down. A smart board cannot rescue poor teaching. The quality of teachers remain critical. It remains critical. So when you visit a school, ask, how are teachers recruited? What experience do they have? How long do teachers usually stay? These are the questions you should ask. How does the school support the teacher's development? Okay, thank you. I trust you now. I trust you, Perpetua. Thank you very much, ma. I love you. I love your intentionality. I love you. I love you. Don't worry. We'll do something together. Mm, you should ask because I discovered that many schools do not support their teachers' development. If you want, as a school owner, you're a school owner, you are watching me, you want to get the best in your teacher, you need to invest in them more than the salary. You know, our teacher once, our children once attended the school, and the teacher keep leaving. One teacher left, the other teacher left, and I met the teachers, and they told me that they are overworked, that they are not comfortable in the school, with the school, with the way this, they are not, you know, they're not feeling that they are doing well as a teacher. So you need to ask that question. What happens when a pupil is struggling? Hmm? You need to put into consideration teachers turnover. If you see a school where teachers are going in, coming out, the teachers are leaving, they are coming, you need to watch it. Because if teachers are constantly leaving, ask why. Because children benefit from stability and children pay dearly for instability. There was a time our daughter's class teacher was, she left. Yes, the teacher left, so the proprietors brought another teacher, and it took our daughter a whole term. She was struggling academically, even in the subject that she would do well perfectly. She was struggling, and I had to meet the proprietor that this thing is affecting our daughter. So you need to investigate that, because children benefit from stability. Children are emotionally attached to teachers. Our son had a teacher. He loved this teacher, and this teacher will always come late. Each time our son will say, "Mommy, my teacher used to come late. Every other teacher will come early to school. It is only my teacher that will come late." That tells you something. The child is getting affected by the teacher's lateness, because the child is emotionally attached to the teacher. So you need to understand this. Don't evaluate teachers by accent, because they can speak good English, because they are tush. No, a polished accent is not evidence of excellent teaching. I said that. A polished accent is not evidence of excellent teaching. A great teacher should be able to help children understand. A great teacher should not only teach a child 2 plus 2, a great teacher should be able to, let the child know why. Yes, ma, thank you. Children benefit from stability, and they pay dearly for instability. They pay for it. So a good teacher should be able to let a child understand why 2 plus 2 equals 4. All right, let's move on. Then the school culture. The second thing you should investigate, you should consider, is the school culture. Culture is powerful. Culture will shape your child's destiny. Hmm? Because school culture is the atmosphere that your child breathes in every single day. And you cannot see this in a brochure. You can't see it in the curriculum. You observe it. Again, you should, as a parent, you should be a dictative. So when you visit a school, watch carefully. How does the teacher speak to the pupil? Watch. How does older people speak to the younger people? If there is the proprietress is in the school, watch. How does the proprietress, speak to the teacher? There was a point our daughter said, she came home and she said, "Mommy, the way our proprietress normally speak to her teachers, sometimes she talks to them harshly. If you are the one, what would you do?" I had to have a deep conversation with her regarding that. How do staff speak to cleaners? Because a school is shaping identity. Your child will learn how to, what it means to be a boss in the school. How does the proprietor speak to the teachers? How does the school respond to the child's mistake? You can learn a great deal about a school by watching how powerful people treat people with less power. And you will only see this by observation. By observation. If you are a teacher or a school owner, I'm giving you a review on how to set up your school. Hmm? How to set up your school. All right. The next thing is safety and child protection. This one is non-negotiable. It is non-negotiable because your child can recover from a bad lesson class, from a bad music class, but safety failures can change a life, a child's life. Some children are traumatized because of the kind of school they attended. So, parent, please investigate. I'm not just talking about physical security. Physical security is part of it. I'm talking about safeguarding mentally. Ask, who is allowed to pick my child? What verified system is used? What happens when an unknown adult arrives? Who supervises children during breaks? You know, how are the younger children supervised? What policy does the school have on bullying? You need to investigate that. How can a child report inappropriate behavior? What happens when a child reports a teacher? Hmm. Something happened in our children's former school, and she reported. And I met the school owner. We talked about it. And the proprietress, of course, talked about it with the teacher. And the other day, the teacher was telling her daughter that, is it everything that happens in the school you go and tell your mommy? What kind of a teacher is that? Something happened again with the same proprietress. Our son reported a case. So I talked about it. I didn't even tell our son that I'm going to address it. Unknown to our son, that I talked about it to the proprietress. The proprietress was so careless that he called our son and told our son that, Shebi, I've apologized to you, and you went home to go and tell your parents. What kind of system is that? These are the things that you need to watch. How our school bosses manage if you want to engage the school transport system. Who have access to the children? What is the emergency procedure? What happens if my child becomes seriously ill? How will that situation be arrested? How quickly do they contact parents? What is the parent-child, relationship and conversation look like? You should also ask about online safety where relevant. These are the things that we should, ask, because a school's first achievements should be returning your child home safely. No, I'm not taking my children to school just to go and read and write, and you return them damaged or something. No, a school's first achievement should be returning my child home safely. Number 4, curriculum and learning approach. Some of us will ask, what kind of curriculum do you run? Is it British? Is it Nigerian? Is it American? They are legitimate. They are good questions, actually. But don't stop there. Do not stop there. An important question is, how are these curriculum delivered? Because two schools can claim that they use the same curriculum and eventually produce different learning experience. So the question you ask, what should my child know at the end of this year? How will you measure progress? How much homework will be given? Sometimes school owners, school teachers, they give homework to the parents. They think they give the homework to the children. Fine, I understand children need to get busy and it's something that will refresh their brain. But hey, children need more than academic. There are other things, there are other important aspects of life that they need to face at home. Thank you, ma. Is it daddy or mommy? Obani B Oluba? I think it's daddy, right? Am I right? Thank you for joining me. Thank you so much. Hmm? You need to ask this question. You need to ask this question. How much project-based learning occurs? Do they only focus on math and English? How creative are they? We need to raise children who can think, who can create, not children who will memorize multiplication table 2 times 1, 2, 2 times 2. Who that will help? Who that will help? Oh, you need to ask, how do you support children who learn faster? Because children don't learn at the same pace, and all there's no problem. A child is learning faster than another child. Doesn't mean the child is better than the one that is slow. That is just the child's unique style of learning, and it is very okay. Hmm? You need to know, is everything based on written examination? Honestly, it's not the best way to examine a child's intelligence. Ask great educators, they will tell you there are other things. So you need to understand this. You also, number 5 thing you need to consider is class size and individual attention. When visiting a school, don't merely ask, how many students do you have? Ask, how many pupils will actually be in my own child's class? You should know. How many teachers do you have for certain number of pupil? Because teachers too are human being. They can't handle more than what their capacity can take. So if you're having 20 pupil in a class and you have a one class teacher, of course, that teacher cannot be efficient, and it will affect your own child's learning. So don't tell child, how many pupil do you have in class? Ask a specific question. In my own class, in my own child's class, how many pupil do you have? And how many teachers do you appoint? Hmm? You should ask, how many pupil share one teacher? Can a teacher notice if a child is confused? Because if a teacher is overwhelmed, the child will not, the teacher will not give in the best. And this is why I love to work with schools, because many schools, maybe because they are trying to manage the funding and all of that. Recently, I discovered that a teacher is teaching 2 classes, 2 different classes. It doesn't matter if each classes have two pupil per class. It doesn't matter. It's not acceptable. It shouldn't happen. It shouldn't happen, because the teacher will end up being stressed. A teacher is teaching 2 different classes. The teacher is switching, the teacher's brain is switching. You teach primary 1, now primary 2, back to primary 1, back to primary 2. That's a whole lot on the brain. And eventually, it didn't work out. It didn't work out. So the question is it's not actually whether the school has the system and staffing to support. The question is whether, yes, don't just ask that question. The question is to ask. The question you should ask is, does that school have system and staffing that supports my child? Number 6, communication with parents. Communication with parents. And here is a simple test that I put down. You ask is, does this school communicate effectively when there's something to discuss? Most schools, the only thing they post on the parents platform is when they are requesting for school fee balance, or when they have outing. That's the only thing they talk about. School WhatsApp class should be, a learning platform. Most of us will even close WhatsApp group. Why? Why? We only remind parents, school owners, teachers, we only remind parents when payment is due. But when a child has struggle, when a child is struggling for months, they won't communicate. That is a problem. You need to know. How do you communicate with parents? Parents and school should also operate as partners. One of the discussions I have first with any school I'm considering for our children is we are partners. We are a team. We have the same project at hand. So we should work. I will complain. And my complaint is for good. I have good intention, not only for my child, for the child, and even for your school system. Because with my experience, with my knowledge, if I give you a professional advice, it will help your school. It will help your school. You should ask, how often will I receive academic feedback of my children? Then, number 7, values and school fit. Values and school fit. Every school teaches value, whether consciously or unconsciously, whether intentionally or unintentionally. You should ask, what does school celebrate? Is it only grade, only obedience, competition, creativity, character, service, leadership, sport, confidence, or what? If you are in a school, your child is in a school, and they are at every session, they put first position, second position, third position. That's not a good school system. That's not a good academic system. Yes, a child may be doing well in math and English, or in any subject. But what about that child that will quickly run to the board to erase, to clean up the board? That is service. That kind of a child should be celebrated. Hmm? A child is doing well academically, you celebrate that child. Oh, best student. Oh, she scored 100 over 100. What about a child who shows up every single day? That child should be celebrated for consistency, for discipline. So you should know what is being celebrated. What is being celebrated? Usually, it is just the small percent of children who perform academically, well, that we celebrate. Every child, a child comes to school early, that child should be celebrated. Mm. So you should consider your child's school reward system. What does the school reward? Because it will have a way, it will have impact on who your child will become. For instance, your child is very creative, your child can draw, but every year, because your child is not thriving in mathematics, every year it is only Puppy that score 90 in mathematics, 90 in English language, 90 in science subject that they celebrate. Do you know that can affect your child's confidence? Meanwhile, your child is not struggling. Those that are scoring 100 over 100 in maths, they are not better than your child. That is the truth. They are not. Always remember that school shapes identity. School shapes identity. So you should ask, because the environment matters. You should ask, if my child spends the next 5, 6 years here, what kind of a person is this environment likely to help produce? What will this school produce if my child spends 3, 4, 5 years in school? Now, quickly, I want to run with red flags you should never ignore. Red flags you should never ignore. And let me confess, like I said, we relocate recently, and we just had to we move in when our children finished the first term. So we actually needed to put these children in school. We are all of that. So we found a school. I went to the school. From the get-go, from the day one that I communicated with the proprietress of the school, I saw some red flags and I ignored it. And we paid dearly for it. So listen to this. I will rush because I'm out of time. Red flag, the first red flag, the school discourages question. Your child comes back from school and says, I want to ask question. My teacher shut me down. Is a red flag. Or maybe you have not enrolled your child to school in a school, and you just went to make inquiry, and the child is asking question and say, keep quiet, keep quiet, keep quiet. You don't talk when adults are talking. Who says that? Who does that? Jesus, as a child, sat in the temple teaching elders. So who says a child cannot speak where adults are? If you believe that, come off. We just need to teach our children what to say when they are speaking with adults. Children can speak when adults are speaking. Yes. So you ask something reasonable and they become irritated. You, as a person, as a parent, you ask question and a school, the school owner or the or admin or anything, excuse me, just because become irritated, that's a red flag. Be careful. I saw this extremely high staff turnover. I've talked about it, so I'm not going to talk about it. You notice that the teachers are just leaving, coming in, different teacher. In one term you have 2 3 teachers, 4 teachers. That's a red flag. Then children appear unusually afraid of teachers. One of the things that, the school that I talked about, our son will come home say, mommy, our son will tell me something and say, mommy, please don't tell my teacher. It means he's afraid of the teacher, and he shouldn't be. If your pupil is afraid of you, your pupil cannot internalize what you are teaching. The reason why many of us hate math today is not because mathematics is difficult, it's because we are afraid of the teachers. Am I right? If I'm right, say yes. That's just it. So when children appear unusually afraid of teachers, respect is healthy, I know, but terror is not. Terror is not healthy. The fourth red flag: the school cannot clearly explain its discipline system. One of the questions you should ask is, how do you discipline? What is your discipline system? Don't say, don't accept we discipline seriously. We are very disciplined. Let them be specific. What does that seriously mean? Do you beat? Do you shout? Do you give punitive punishment? You need to ask. Of course, a school that beats, that use cane, is not healthy for your child. But I know some of you will go against it because you too at home, you use cane. That's a discussion for another day. Then the fifth red flag: everything is about grade and ranking. Academic excellence is important, I agree, but children are humans, not examination machines. If a school is just based, yes ma, thank you very much ma, yes. So because we are just afraid of the teacher, that's why if another good teacher handles that mathematics, we will know it. So for a teacher to be for a pupil to be afraid of a teacher is not a good thing. Remember we talked about the upstairs brain and that's downstairs brain in our last master class. Fear triggers the downstairs brain. So when the child is afraid, the downstairs brain can takes over, and the downstairs brain is responsible for emotions. The upstairs brain is the brain that's responsible for learning, for solving problem, for making wise choices, for remembering and taking in instruction. And when the downstairs brain is in charge, the upstairs brain cannot work. So if a child is afraid of the teacher, just know that your child is not learning. It's simple as that. Then red flag number 6: bullying is dismissed. If they don't take bullying seriously, the school is not a good school for your child. I can say it with all my mouth, with my mouth widely open, but I will not open it too much so that it will not hear. So when you hear something like children will always be children, we children will always be children. No, bullying should be handled intentionally. If any school don't have clear system on how they handle bullying, that school is not healthy. Then red flag number 7: communication is poor. If the communication is poor, you will not discover problem early until everything goes out of hand. Then red flag number 8: when the marketing is impressive but the learning evidence is weak. You see big billboards, you see big banners, you see them on Facebook, you see them on Instagram. You just any corner you turn to, you just see this school. But talk about the outcome. The evidence is weak. This is a red flag. Hmm? This is a red flag. Again, I want you to take note of this and possibly put it in the chat that a beautiful gate can hide a broken system. A beautiful gate can hide a broken system. So don't choose a school based on beautiful marbles because your children are not going to study marbles. Don't choose school because the school bus is beautiful or is neat. Your child is not going there to study school bus. Hmm? I agree with you that infrastructure matters. Of course, it does. But infrastructure should support education rather than distract you from evaluating it. It should support education. It shouldn't distract you. Then, number 9, unrealistic promises. My husband will always say, sometimes, because I understand that there's no perfect system. There's no perfect system. So sometimes I try to overlook some things, and usually my husband say, no, don't let us accept we'll do this. No, what is already in the system? What? So we guarantee you every child have straight A. How now? Be careful. That's vague. That's vague. How can every child have A? That's not possible. Be careful because education involves human beings and not machine. Serious schools tend to discuss process. They discuss process, support system, and they discuss outcomes honestly. So if they cannot discuss all this honestly, please, that is not the right school to enroll your child. All right. There's one more session that I quickly want to rush into. Um, um, Quickly, I want to give you the scorecard. Yes, now, yes, I'm calling it up on my slide. Yes, the scorecard, and I call it the Coach at Your School scorecard. The Coach at Your School scorecard. I want to give you something practical because I don't want you to choose school based on emotions. I want you to be able to create a simple scorecard. Take every school you are considering, score it from 1 to 5 in these areas. Teaching quality, 1 means poor, 5 means excellence. Safety and safeguarding, school culture, curriculum, individual attention, communication with parents, values, child school fees, distance and logistics, affordability and sustainability, extracurricular activities. Prepare a simple score card and rate it. Score it from 1 to 5. 1 means very poor. 5 means excellent. Then fix in poor, good, very good, excellent. You can use that template. If you need more explanation, I need to close now. If you need more explanation on that, you can ask me. You can drop your question. I will attend to your question by myself. All right. So do not simply add everything equally. Be realistic. Hmm? Be realistic because for one family, special learning support may be critical. For another, proximity may be important. Fee is also important. Let me also talk about this. Don't put your children in a school where it will drain your family's finances. It will not just affect you, it will affect your children too. It will affect your children because if your children notice, okay, you struggle to pay maybe 1 million for a school fee, or even if it's 500,000, if it's not convenient for you, you struggle to pay. After paying the school fee, they want to go for excursion, you can't pay. They want to do this, you can't pay. And any little mistake, you start beating your child. After all the money you have paid, any school fee that you have to pay under pressure, it means you cannot afford it. It is not a must. Some of us went to public school now, and we are not doing badly. Am I right? Although I went to private primary school, but I went to government secondary school. My husband went to Catholic school, is a public school and secondary school, and today he's a chartered accountant. He's doing well. He's not doing badly. So As much as we need to invest in our children, it is not for us to stretch ourselves beyond our capacity. Remember that we are not sending our children to school to, to for competition. No, we are sending them to come back to us as a formed person, as a formed person, a well-shaped adult. That is what we want to reach. So I want to close with this. Your child may spend thousands of hours inside a school environment, but think about that. Hmm? Think that teachers will speak into your child's life. Classmates will influence your child. We don't even know that we need to consider the type of children who are in school with our children, because classmates influences. Our children will come back home. When our baby started school, when he resumed school, there are things that he wouldn't say naturally. He came back from school and he started saying, there was a day he said, if I slap you, you will fall down and die. Yeah, I've never said that. My husband never said. We don't say words like that. He picked that from school. And they don't usually, play like that. He picked that from school. So you should take note of this. Success will shape confidence. Failures will shape resilience. Hmm? Failures, correction will shape self-perception. I talked about you considering how children are corrected in the school. The environment will influence how your child sees learning, how your child sees authority, how your child relates to other people, and sometimes how your child sees he or herself. So don't take your child to a school because a neighbor recommended it. Someone recommended a school for us, and honestly, I do not blame the person. What the person needs is actually different from what we needed. But because we were new in that environment, quickly need to put some things together. And when we discovered that school, as a matter of fact, that school, destabilized our children, destabilized us. We have no choice than pulling our children out from that system. Because if they continue, it will be disastrous. So today, this is where we draw the curtain of today's conversation. For those of us that attended our last master class, please do not exit. It's still the same group. I know some of us are confused. We are creating more groups because many people will be joining us. Thank you for your time. If you ask questions, please feel free to get across to me. I will personally respond to your question. Until next time, keep parenting with intention.